Oh yeah, that's right.
I've done that too.
Is this thing on? Hey everyone, hope you're staying healthy. Today I have a very talented producer and also the drummer for Straight Tuesday, Jemz. Jemz, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me here.
Of course. Yeah, great to keep talented people coming through.
Great, yeah.
For sure.
I'm really excited. This is a cool little idea you guys have going.
Thanks, man. So I know you played drums for the Pride of West Virginia.
Mhm.
Was it weird to switch from that kind of environment into a structure like Straight Tuesday?
Not really. So I've just kind of been a multi-instrumentalist my whole life. So I grew up, my first instrument was like percussion and like concert band stuff. Started in grade school, somewhere around fourth grade. So that was really the foundation of a lot of my music journey. After that, I got into like piano and some other instruments in middle school. Kind of took a break from that, from like private lessons, and kind of transitioned into just like doing stuff strictly with my school because it was free and it was there.
Yeah.
So that's where I learned a lot of my stuff that I learned over the course of my musical career. So I was always like playing drum set, mallet instruments like xylophones, marimbas, learning different melody keys and things like that. And I just kind of like built up that knowledge over time and just developed this foundation that I use when I play any instrument. So I kind of got into marching band in my freshman year. I didn't want to do it, but I ended up like having a great time. And
Freshman year of high school?
Freshman year of high school, yeah.
Okay.
I played marching cymbals my first year, and then I did snare drum for the following three. And that was a lot of fun. And that was a big reason why I also applied here, because they had a marching band here.
Yeah.
And I knew I was going to study something different at the university, and I wanted to keep kind of like a music life going.
Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
I came down here for auditions before my senior year in high school closed. And I tried out on an instrument I actually never played in my life, which was the tenor drums. So it's basically like the tom drums on a drum set, but just like flat. And there's like 6 of them.
Oh yeah.
I auditioned on that. And I got on, luckily, so I was thankful for doing that, and I ended up doing it for 4 years and became the drumline captain that year.
That's
my final
awesome.
year.
Yeah, dude, I love the drum line.
So
It's
like,
sick.
yeah, oh, it's so much fun. Like, I got to do some amazing things that I would never really take back. During that period of time, I didn't really do drum set stuff, especially since I was living around town in dorms and stuff. Didn't really have room for my drum set.
Yeah.
Once when I came back here for grad school, I moved my drum kit here, and that's when I started playing with Straight Tuesday. And it was just getting back into playing drum set stuff. Like I said, in band in high school and stuff, I did jazz bands and rock bands with some of my friends. Like nothing formal, but just hanging out playing music.
I'm sure it was nice to get back to that, especially because I'm sure like the marching band is so like structured and everything, and then something like Straight Tuesday where you're playing with your friends, it's more of just kind of like relaxed.
Exactly, yeah. There's a lot of cool aspects to both, but there's not a better feeling, in my opinion, just jamming with some musicians and making music together. It's really fun.
You were telling me about your vlog project that you have on YouTube. Can you just expand a little more on that?
Yeah, sure. So about last summer, when I was trying to develop more of my mixing knowledge and my production knowledge, I started doing like YouTube tutorials and stuff like that, because me being a physicist, like by heart, like I know a lot of sound physics and things like that, so I have like a unique insight to creating music.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to try to promote that kind of idea of thinking of it like science almost. But I kind of got burnt out from that, and when I started my job at Culture this past like January was when I wanted to pick up some more YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
And I figured like since I'm already in the studio working with artists, I may as well just pull out my phone and record kind of like the process.
Yeah.
Because not only does the artist coming in record with me, they'll also get this extra benefit of being produced on this video for YouTube with other artists possibly on the episode. Everybody's like social media networks get entangled that way.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to do this vlog idea where it was me kind of like doing daily life things like with my normal job, but also have this side hustle where I'm trying to transition into this music career. So it's really kind of like a vlog of my music journey and how I handle that with my day-to-day life, because I mean we all have like jobs that we have to do for our day. So I think it's relatable to a lot of people, and I don't know, it's something I've wanted to do. So
Definitely, yeah. I guess I have a question. It's hard for like my parents' generation at least. I'm sure that yours are similar in age. Is it hard to explain to them that your job is music and you're not like super famous?
I think when my parents are very, very supportive, I would say, like, they just want me to be happy at what I do. And I think their main concern is just that I'm covered in aspects of life. Like, if anything goes wrong with me, like, God forbid I get in a car accident and I'm doing freelance production on the side, that, like, I'd have a huge insurance bill or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they're worried about, is more like me being safe with, like, daily life things.
Yeah.
They don't really care what I do with my career.
Yeah.
So I think when I kind of, like, told them my passion was to now realizing that I want to do this music thing,
Yeah.
there's a lot of open avenues nowadays to generate money from doing this kind of stuff, that they kind of saw that this is what I should be doing.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people don't have that relationship with their parents, and it's doctor, lawyer, engineer, or bust kind of thing.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
that makes it hard for somebody who wants to do something completely different or creative.
So you were saying you use the summer to like level up your, I guess, musical talent. I was talking to John the other day, and he was saying, we were talking about how like quarantine and all that stuff has given him time to create. Do you feel the same way about that?
I feel the same way. I think it's almost like, it's weird to say because it's like a very deadly virus, but it's almost like the universe.
No joke.
Yeah.
Coronavirus is not good. That's not what we're saying at all.
No, not at all. But it's almost like the universe was telling everybody who was stressed out in the world that, like, hey, sit back and chill out for a minute. Like, stay at home, like, deal with mental issues, deal with whatever you're going on with your life. Like, obviously there's going to be unemployment and some other bad factors that go with it, but I think it was almost like a calling for people to focus on the things they needed to.
Yeah.
So in terms of John saying that, it was almost like he had more time to create, which he always wants to do.
Yeah.
For me, it was a time for me to kind of like telework from my current job and utilize that time to work with new artists as much as I can.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was a good thing in my opinion, but obviously it's a bad virus, so that's not the good thing.
Yeah. There are always blessings in disguise, for sure.
Yeah.
Straight Tuesday is working on a new EP now. It was supposed to release earlier this spring, but now it's been pushed back because of all this mayhem. Can you tell me about what that project means to you specifically?
So it's just kind of, we've started recording with John, who was in here the other day. He was doing kind of like this project for school with his music industry stuff that he was doing at the school, and he created this course with his audio engineering professor that basically was to develop an EP start to finish during the semester.
Yeah.
Which he would record it all, produce it all, engineer it all, do everything that you needed to do to promote it. So that was really the start of our band, was getting those things, like developing our tool sets for how to make music, how to mix, what recording environments work best. So this first EP that we have out, called Overdow, was kind of like our entrance to the world with our music. And now that we're kind of refining our sound, refining the way we create music in the studio, we're a lot more knowledgeable of our process.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a great follow-up EP, and I'm excited for people to hear some of our ideas coming forward.
Yeah. I know John was saying that he writes most of the music, but I don't know how much he writes of the drum rhythms. Do you write those yourself, or does he kind of have like a layout for them before you get a touch?
Yeah, so I kind of take the lead on that. John sometimes has some ideas that are really good ideas for drums, but that's not his strong suit. So he kind of relies on me for fitting in the correct drum rhythms, like I was talking about earlier, with making melodies. Sometimes a certain drum rhythm on a guitar thing that he's playing, like if I was just crashing really hard on the drums, that wouldn't fit nice with like some finger picking stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really, he trusts me to kind of like piece everything together.
You were saying that you play other instruments as well, and you make beats. So when you make beats, do you start like with drums, or do you just start with whatever you feel like, I guess?
So I would say my two main instruments are drums and piano. Those are my favorite. Those are the ones that I've kind of like became the best at over time. So when I create something, I normally start with like a melody kind of structure. Depending on the song, sometimes I'll start with drums. Like the other day, I was making a pop song with an artist that I work with called Gideon Green, and he wanted something like a specific kind of like rhythm.
Yeah.
So that's where I started with the drums and built up a melody from there to kind of like fit the drums.
I got
But
you.
most of the times, I'm a person who really goes off the motion and feeling of music. So having a melody allows me to complement the melody that's already there with drum rhythms.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you could play an awesome drum rhythm, but it might not fit in the part of the music that it needs to.
I got you.
So most of the time, it's just creating a melody and going from there.
Especially because you know drums so well, I'm sure it's like just second nature. When you hear a melody, you're like, oh, this would sound great laid over.
Yeah, it's really saved me time in my production career that I've had that experience.
I'm sure it has.
Yeah.
Stream Wake Up by Catch and Z's, that'll have come out by the time that this is released. So you can stream that everywhere, produced by Jemz. Can you tell me about how that song kind of came into fruition?
Sure. So me and Zach, or Catch and Z's, very talented. I've made a bunch of music with him over the last year, and about a month ago he came to me, and he's been working on making his own instrumentals too, his own beats, and he had this melody idea that he really liked, but he couldn't develop it into a full-on production.
Yeah.
So he came to my studio at Coltron High here in Morgantown, and we sat down and kind of developed the rest of the beat together.
Okay.
And it turned out to be a really cool beat, and he really was excited to work on it. We both kind of thought of new ideas as we were creating it. Like halfway through the song, there's like a beat switch up that kind of goes into a different rhythm, and I think it's pretty cool. So we ended up recording it, I think either that day or the following week, and we've just been working on the mixing changes over time, and just listening to it in post, because you could create something on the spot, but sometimes your ear gets tired when you're in the studio for a while.
Yeah.
So I think it's always best to come back to it another point and give it a full listen.
Yeah.
To kind of get the best sound out of it that you
Get
can.
the fresh ears coming back into it.
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, that one's gonna be a good song. It's a very upbeat song. So
Yeah, that's awesome. He said it was very like summertime kind of.
it's a
music.
summertime song.
Yeah. I guess in addition to that, so you've worked with like different types of musicians, rappers, obviously. Is it like frustrating to you, just I guess in the industry and you personally, that rappers get a lot of the limelight and producers get like shunted away from it?
For me, it's kind of weird for me to say this, but I always have this dream in my head that I produce a song that like pops off, like some big artist records on it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like in a bar with my friends or like somewhere in a public place, and the song comes on and everybody's in there listening to it and singing along.
Yeah.
And I'm just there taking in the moment kind of thing. Like nobody knows I made that, but I know I made that. I think that's like the coolest thing to me for some reason.
Yeah.
I do it for the music. I don't really care about the limelight of that. I will say there's been a big push lately. A lot of internet producers and people who are kind of public on the internet sharing their production tips and stuff. And a lot of people do give their credit to producers nowadays, more than they have in the past. In the past, it was more like, especially since independent artists are kind of becoming the normal.
Yeah.
It's not really a label thing, so the label's really promoting the artist, and it's like these are the producers. But now it's kind of like everybody's a team. You're splitting everything in equal parts, or everybody's hopping on together. So I think that's a cool change. For me personally, I just want to make music.
Yeah, I got you. I think that like mainly started with, I guess, someone like Metro Boomin. He was like the first person to be like a famous producer. I mean, there were famous producers, but he's like a star, and he also like only makes beats. He doesn't rap on songs.
Yeah, it's definitely a newer thing, like starting in like 2014 or something like that, when people really started like recognizing producers' talents. I mean, there's like producers like Pharrell who've made probably a bunch of songs that you probably wouldn't even know he made for people.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's just now coming to public. Like a lot of these people, they're getting their credit.
Yeah. So you have some of your solo music streamed Jemz on Spotify. Is it on the other services as well?
Yeah, it should be on Apple Music, whatever you listen to, Tidal if you listen there,
Gotcha.
Amazon.
Stream Jemz. You have a full-length LP called I on Spotify and all those streaming services. So why don't you tell me a little bit about like how that project came to be?
Sure. So about, I would say last March was when I kind of like had this light bulb click in my head. That's when I started grad school, and that's when I started picking up music more, because I didn't have as much commitments to marching bands and other things in my life. It was just like graduate school that the program I'm in. So I wanted to fill that time up more with music, and I realized that I've been enjoying that way more than I have with the schooling stuff and the career path I chose. So I really wanted to capitalize on that opportunity. So about last March, I'd say I started doing it serious, like making a schedule of when I would release music regularly, send beats to artists, record artists, kind of learn more and more as I go along. And last summer, part of my research, I'm in a physics program here for graduate school.
Okay.
I have a position with the U.S. Naval Research Laboratory, which is located in Washington, D.C.
That's awesome.
And thanks. And part of my duty was to be on base there for the summer to start off my research campaign there.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was there, it was kind of me just being isolated in DC. I had an Airbnb for like 3 months there, and I just really used that time to level up on my music career.
Yeah.
So I would go to work as soon as I can. Like I would get in at probably like 6 or 7 in the morning.
Oh wow.
Work my 8 hours and then go home and make music until probably midnight.
That's crazy.
And a lot of the stuff I would make, I was really trying to do like YouTube tutorials and things like that, which were fun at the time. I kind of fell out of that and kind of came across this new like video vlog kind of style of production that I've been doing. But during that time is when I started making a bunch of music, and whatever music that I really liked for myself, I put on that I project.
I got you.
So it was kind of like music that I couldn't see an artist directly recording on.
Yeah.
It was more of stuff that I wanted to put out for myself.
Just rhythms that you liked personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of really cool instrumentation on there, and now it makes more sense that you say you've been a multi-instrument artist, because there are like horns and guitar and all that stuff on there too.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So stream Jemz, his solo music, on Spotify and all the other streaming services. Stream Overdale by Stray Tuesday on all the streaming services. And also, if you want beats or you want mixing and mastering from him, you can contact him on Instagram at prodbyjemz. That's PRODBYJEMZ. I'm Sam, this is Jemz, and y'all take it easy.
Thank you.
Are you comfortable?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, cool.
I think so. Are you comfortable?
Yeah, I'm comfortable. I'm just making sure.
I'm comfortable for you, Sam.